God, I'm so excited. It's double exciting because this is my first time playing it with the music. Because last time I recorded it, it was like, maybe you shouldn't with the music because you might get copyright struck. But I don't give a fuck anymore. Let's fucking go. Alright, I am going to turn it down a little bit though. And then we can play a new game. Let me set up the window thingy. This one. This button. Done. Easy. Are we fucking ready, chat? I'm so excited! Oh my god! Okay. Disclaimers. Streamers and content creators should turn music volume to 0 in order to disable copyrighted music. This is a demo of the TOUCHSTARVED prologue and not the finished product. Thank you. We don't care about copyright here. I mean, we love copyright. Anyway, TOUCHSTARVED is intended for an older audience. It contains mature content that includes, but is not limited to, horror, graphic violence, strong language, alcohol and drug references, injury, and dismemberment. Player discretion is advised. If you accept the content warning, please click to proceed. Oh god, tutorial. In TOUCHSTARVED, your choices matter. The decisions you make may result in unique dialogue, interactions, or even choices in red text which contain exclusive content. Try playing through the demo more than once and choosing different options. You might even uncover a secret ending. And remember, there are no wrong choices, only interesting ones. Choose wisely and save often. Alright, I know how to play. I know how to play. Alright, my name is Pinky. Oh, submit, choose your pronouns. I'm one of them she, hers. Alright, hold on a second. I need to recalibrate my model real quick because her head is flipping. Okay. Actually, let me move her too. Okay. Are we ready, chat? This world began to unravel long before you were born. It began with fogfall. Spectral mist bled from the seams where reality wore so thin it split. And from the fog emerged monsters, inhuman beings with unnatural powers. Some possessed language and intellect, others were mindless beasts driven by little more than the desire to slaughter. As cities fell and unrest spread, humans united in their fear while monsters thrived in the chaos. And then there's you. You're not even sure if you're human. You were born cursed, with hands that alter the minds of anyone you touch. Choose your backstory. Alright. I'm worried it's too loud, because I was watching the stream last night and it was kind of loud. So I'm just gonna turn it down a little bit. Okay, select your origin. The Unnamed, a fallen oracle. You were raised as an oracle in a remote temple. The priests claim your touch bestowed enlightenment, but a visiting mage revealed your curse for what it is. Following the mage's word, you fled in search of the cenobium. You regularly experience unnatural premonitions that rattle your body and soul. An innate sixth sense gives you a heightened awareness of hidden supernatural presences around you. The Hound, a forsaken thief. You were raised by society's outcasts, criminals who accepted you when no one else would. Your partner in crime, a friend since childhood, helped you steal enough money for a cure, then betrayed you. They left you with only enough coin to travel to the cenobium, your last hope. You have sharply honed social intuition. You can survive and even thrive in the violent underbelly of any city, using your experience with the underworld to get ahead. And the Alchemist, an abandoned mage. An exiled cenobium mage took you in as a child, raising you as her apprentice. She seemed to take pity on your curse, but you discovered that she was cultivating you as a test subject. You fled to the cenobium, seeking a cure. You are an experienced spellcaster with encyclopedic knowledge of alchemy, spellcraft, and history. With a little observation, you can identify the subtle effects of magic. I think last time I chose the Oracle, so we're gonna choose something new this time. Let's do the abandoned mage. Let's go for it. Your name is Pinky. You selected she, her pronouns. Your backstory is the alchemist. Is this correct? Hell yeah. Guys, I need to wash my hair. My scalp is so itchy. Okay. The wasteland stretches as far as the eye can see. There's nothing out here but death, the ever-present stench of decay, and countless sun-bleached bones cast like seeds across the barren land. I could say death doesn't scare me, but to tell the truth, I'm desperate. It's been 2 weeks since I joined a caravan bound across the wastes. Finding a group that would accept me was a trial in itself. As rations grew sparse and my canteen ran dry, I began to despair. But then I saw it. Bum bum bum. Aridia, the city of knowledge, one of the last bastions of humanity left in the world and home to the famous academy called the Cenobium. All the world's knowledge gathered in one place. If there's anywhere I'll find a cure for my curse, it's there. All that stands between me and a cure is a final stretch of salt-soaked wastes, or so I think, until I see the first tendrils of fog snaking beneath the wagon. Is this fogball? My stomach sinks at the very whisper of it. A silent storm more devastating than fire. Dangerous in cities, but a death sentence beyond them. A thick blanket of fog engulfs us, smothering out the lantern's light. The wagon lurches to a stop. An eerie silence, heavy as the mist, falls over us. The only warning we get is a strangled scream. Stay back! No! The cry dissolves into wet gurgling. Oh my god! Jesus! Then the wagon violently pitches to the side. I hit the ground hard, the air punched from my lungs. When I open my eyes, adrenaline lends sudden, awful clarity to the carnage around me. A trader I once shared bread with lies face down in the mud, their back reduced to long strings of torn muscle, gleaming gristle, and exposed bone. Bodies litter the wasteland. Whoa. Smash. I try to rise, but my ankle explodes with pain so blinding, white blooms across my vision. Only when my eyes adjust do I see the dark shape in front of me. Oh my god. I never experienced the noises in this game, I don't think. A soulless stoops over the twisted form of a caravaner. I freeze, but it swivels its head. A dozen bulging eyes twitch in my direction and blink as one. Let me see if I can... Okay, I'm gonna turn down the effects a little bit. Jesus! Okay, I'm gonna turn down the effects a little bit more. Okay, the Solus lets out an ear-splitting shriek and runs at me. But right before it reaches me, the beast barrels past, vanishing into the mist. Distantly, a horse screams in the dark. I need to move now. Run for the city or head towards the wagon. You know what? YOLO. We're running for the city. I take off, running deeper into the haze. The fog is so thick that I fear I'm headed in the wrong direction until I see a dim pinprick of light emanating from the shadow of a spire. It's faint, but it's enough. I came too far to die here. Rapid footsteps echo all around me. I turn in circles, frantically searching the opaque mist for the source, but the fogfall twists and stretches sound. Suddenly, the caravan's driver bursts forth from the fog. Our eyes meet too late. Uh-oh. He slams into me, knocking me to the ground, and slips in a patch of mud. The Solus falls on him as soon as he slows. It catches the driver by his throat and rakes his stomach with razor-sharp claws. He comes apart like wet paper, spilling intestines and viscera in a steaming tide. Fighting the urge to heave, I claw frantically through the slippery muck for a handhold. Shit. My hand catches on a jagged edge of a rib jutting up from the water. Bandages unfurl around the gouge torn deep into my palm. The pain's quickly forgotten when a hand closes around my wrist. Can you stand? One of the travelers from the caravan leans over me. Smash. He's such a cutie, though. We need to run. They reach for my hand, and I realize too late that my bandages have come undone. No, don't touch me. The sensation of their thumb brushing the back of my hand sends a shiver down my spine. All it takes is one touch, and in the space of a breath, my curse takes hold. Oh my god. Their lips peel back into a deranged grin. Ha 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 ha. No, I've seen this face countless times before. This is my curse, madness of my own making. Their grip on my hand tightens until pain radiates from my knuckles. Let me go. Suddenly, clammy hands crush my throat, choking off my breath. Die, 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 die. Spit bubbles at the corners of their mouth and flecks my face. The edges of my vision darken as my lungs scream for air. Scream for help or fight them off? We're gonna fight them off because our throat is currently getting crushed, so. My nails gouge deep into the traveler's wrist, but no matter how much blood I draw, they don't flinch. The more I struggle, the tighter their grip grows. My pulse hammers in my ears, slowing with each thudding beat. This can't be happening. I'm going to die, and not because of the fogfall or the soulless, but because of my own curse. Tears sting my eyes. No, 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 not here, not like this. The hands drop from my neck, leaving me wheezing for air. My lungs burn with each ragged cough. My vision clears, and the traveler's face takes shape, hovering inches from mine, lips still split in that macabre smile, even as blood seeps between their teeth. They give one last shuddering breath, then slump over the claws hooked through their stomach. Jesus. The soulless shoves the body aside, and the glowing eyes studying its leathery skin, thin as though grinning. Jesus. There's a flash of claws. Red spill across my vision. I thought there'd be pain, but as I sink into the murky water, all I can feel is the grit of silt filling my mouth and the icy embrace of shallow water. Distantly, I notice an arm resting among an outcrop of reeds, mine neatly severed at the elbow. It should have taken both arms. Without them, maybe I could have survived. Maybe I could have had a home. Instead, I'll die cold, alone, and face down in a desolate wasteland. A fitting end for a monstrosity like me. Dun dun dun. I'm gonna be honest, chat, I don't remember much of this game, I'm realizing. Like, I remember it started kind of crazy, but I did not remember any of that. If this is death, it's not as bad as I feared. The cold is gone, as is the choking stench of bog water. I could drift forever, cocooned in oblivion, until all thought and sensation vanished. No curse, nobody howling at me in madness and terror, nothing at all. The thought has a terrible appeal to it. But the next moment, I take a reflexive breath. Air pours into my lungs, then out again in a ragged gasp. Feeling comes flooding back, warm cloth on my bare skin, a firm surface beneath me, a strange tang of sulfur in the air. Do not be afraid. Tea? I twist my head towards the voice. Tears flood my bleary vision at the bright glow of lamplight. Try not to move. The voice is calm, steady, and commanding, but more importantly, it's a stranger's voice. One thought cuts through my mental fog. I have no idea who this is, and I'm completely at their mercy. Stay away from me. My words come out a little more than a creaky whisper. I clamp my mouth shut, hating how weak and helpless I sound. No. No? Who the hell is this? Sit up or lie back down. Let's lie down. We lost an arm. I let myself slump back against the thin pillow, wincing when the motion jolts my head. Ah, a cooperative patient, thank you. The words swim in one ear and out the other without much comprehension. I pull the sheet up higher, wiping my eyes until my vision clears. Bestie. Dude, this guy is sexy. Every character in this game is sexy, first of all. Let me get that straight. I'll put that on the record. I cannot decide. I can't decide. I love Leander so much, but I also love Ace, but I also love Curious, which is who this is. I also love the other two, but maybe not as much. The stranger towers over my prone form. Warm light reflects off his pristine medical coat. I instinctively shrink back, and that's when I notice that I'm completely naked except for a thin linen sheet. Naked, lying low lying on a low cot with a pair of sharp golden eyes watching me, my every move. The man's gaze flickers to my exposed, unbandaged hands. I plunge my hands under the sheet to hide them from sight, though it's too late. He must have noticed what they look like. Hello, hands? Strange, cursed, inhuman. I brace myself for his inevitable suspicion and disgust, but his expression doesn't even flicker from that courteous smile. He just watches in placid silence as I struggle to make sense of my surroundings. Where am I? Who are you? Be calm. You are safe here. Whoever this is, he clearly has no idea who or what I am. I've never been safe anywhere, with anyone. Even my own mentor, my teacher, thought I was nothing but a convenient specimen to be used and discarded. I scowl, pulling the sheet protectively around myself. Where are my clothes? The man's golden eyes narrow slightly. A sharp sigh rustles the papers in his hand. I see you are not to be dissuaded. Your clothes were torn to shreds when I found you, but I procured replacements. With a soft creak, he stands from his chair, giving me a better view of my surroundings. I seem to be in some sort of medical clinic. Bottles of silvery alchemical concoctions line the counters in neat rows. The air makes my nose twitch, a faint whiff of smoke and something distinctly metallic that I can't quite place. The doctor produces a large, dense bundle of cloth, which he sets at the foot of my cot. He's easily a head taller than most, and I have to crane my neck to look at him. Thank you, or could you step out? We're gonna be nice. We're gonna be pleasant. I should be polite if I can, especially since I don't know who this is, what he can do, or what he wants with me. Thank you. You are welcome. I will leave you to get dressed. With a curt nod, he leaves through a narrow door. I hear a soft click as the lock turns behind him. I count to 3 in the sudden silence. When I don't hear any more footsteps, I reach for the bundle of clothes. An itch at my elbow stops me short. I reach down absently to rub at it, then freeze when my fingers meet a neat line of stitches. I know what I saw. That beast took my arm clean off. And yet, my arm shows no signs of injury apart from the black stitches poking through my skin. I gingerly flex my fingers, feeling my heart race at the sensation. This is impossible. I should be dead, or at the very least, gasping out my last breaths. We're too sexy to die like that. I squeeze my eyes shut, waiting for the pleasant dream to unravel, to wake up bleeding out in the swamp. But nothing happens. The seconds tick by, and my arm remains resolutely healed, my surroundings pristine and quiet. In numb disbelief, I reach for the replacement clothes and begin stiffly pulling them on. They're thicker and warmer than mine were, with a black woolen cloak to go with them, but there's one thing still missing: my bandages. The golden-eyed man didn't leave me with any, even though I know he saw my hands. I slide off the bed and take a few unsteady steps towards one of the drawers. If this is indeed a doctor's clinic, there must be bandages somewhere. Can we talk about this background right now? Because this eats. Eats. I love colors. I wish the world had more colors, especially movies. Movies these days have no fucking color. I like warm colors like this. I start opening drawers at random, and of course, that's when the door swings open once more. Are you looking for something? Yamada. I whirl around, clutching a thick roll of clean bandages. I try to step back from him, but my legs bump against the edge of the cot. Your caution is understandable, though if I meant you any harm, you would know. That doesn't make me feel better in the slightest, but he makes no move toward me, so I quickly wind the bandages around my hands. The glowing scars and mottled skin disappears under a layer of clean white cotton. May I ask why you need additional bandages? I clench my jaw. I knew it would only be a matter of time before he asked about my hands, though the way he does it is strangely roundabout. Say nothing, glare at him, or decline to answer. Let's say nothing. There's no answer I could give without raising unwelcome suspicion, so I just shake my head and finish tying the bandages in silence. I can only help if you tell me what ails you. An involuntary snort of laughter escapes me. Where would I even begin? Would he even believe me if I told him? No, best to keep my curse to myself for now and learn more about him first. Who are you? You may call me Curious. And where exactly am I? Iridia, which I assume was your caravan's destination. I can think of nowhere else for a group of travelers to go. Iridia. So I made it to the City of Knowledge after all. I should feel relieved, but all I can manage is a vague sense of increasing unease. How did I end up here? I brought you to my clinic, of course. You were the only survivor from the caravan, barely clinging to life. You needed immediate treatment. Which you provided? Yes. He says it so simply, as if I'm a small child and he's explaining basic addition to me. I frown and flex the fingers on my recently healed arm. Aside from being a bit stiff, it feels fine, thoroughly attached to me. You're saying that you stitched my arm back on? Pardon? A Solus attacked the caravan. It ripped everyone to shreds. It tore my arm clean off. But when I woke up here, I spent my entire life learning from a Cenobian mage, and I know of no alchemy or magic that could reattach a severed limb. Even if he somehow could heal me by magic, I should detect traces of it, but I sense nothing out of the ordinary at all. The doctor, curious, pinches the bridge of his nose. He sits back down in his chair, quiet for a long time. I do not know where you come from, but Iridia is the city of knowledge and deadly secrets alike. Information is power, and it is most unwise to give or receive it freely. Since you have refused to divulge your secrets, I will not divulge mine. I do not even know your name. You are new to Iridia, so I will overlook this specific breach of etiquette. However, you should not expect others to extend the same courtesy. I'm sorry! I'm sorry! OMG, I didn't see this model. So cute. Thank you. Welcome in. How are you? Do you understand? He looks pointedly at my freshly bandaged hands. Loath though I am to admit it, he has a point. I'm also a complete stranger to him, and if he's telling the truth, he saved my life. I take a deep, steadying breath. This time, when I speak, I sound a bit more like myself. Oh my god! Thank you. Oh my god. Wait, is she gonna pop back up? Okay, there she is. I love that. I love that so much. I'm so glad I added that. It is a pleasure to meet you, Pinky. There's little more warmth in his smile, his polite demeanor back in an instant. Thank you for saving me, or why did you save me? I'm gonna thank him. We have to be polite, because he cussed us out just now. Thank you for saving my life. I chance a smile in return. Even if he won't explain how he did the impossible, there's no doubt in my mind that I'd be dead if not for Curious. Think nothing of it. I'm not sure if he's just being excessively courteous, but his words only raise more urgent questions. But I have to ask, why did you save me? You don't know me. The question seems to startle Curious. I could hardly leave you to die in the wastes. Assisting those in need is the very essence of a doctor's duty. I've never met a doctor who also handed out free clothes. My fingers find the edge of the cloak. There's a subtle but delicately embroidered pattern around the hem. I try not to think about what kind of price Curious might ask for such well-made clothes. No, I suppose not. Oh my god! This is my life now. No, I suppose not. Forgive my presumption. I rarely come across so fascinating a patient. It's so funny. Hi, Pepper! Thank you for your daily love letter. I blink. What did he just say? Oh god, okay, I'm taking a sip. Oh my god, water is so good, chat. Oh my god! I blink. What did he just say? I simply meant that— hello, sip that. I simply meant that few would cling to life so resolutely, or brave such a perilous journey to Iridia. I could not help being curious about you, Pinky. His voice dips to a soft murmur, and he abruptly looks away from me. You're pretty curious yourself, or I don't know what to say to that. You're pretty curious yourself. Am I? Okay, look at his little smile. Well, I haven't forgotten about my arm. I wiggle my intact fingers at him. Clearly not. But you haven't asked me for any payment either. I require none from you. Travelers do not have an abundance of coin, and it would be unethical to leave you destitute in a strange place. I fall silent, unsure what to say to that. Nobody would help a horror like me for free. Horror. A horror like me for free? There has to be some kind of catch or trick, right? Oh. A loud knock at the front door stops our conversation cold and spares me from having to say anything else. Duty calls. Unfortunately, you are not my only patient today. Whore, you say? The knocking grows more insistent, and Curious lets out a tired sigh. Please wait your turn. Though he says it quietly, the clamor on the other side of the door abruptly stops. Do you need anything before you leave, Pinky? Oh. Between the soulless attack and my miraculous survival, I'd almost forgotten why I came to Iridia in the first place. I need directions to the cenobium. The cenobium? The look on his face is downright chilling. He pauses, choosing his words with cold deliberation when he speaks again. Whatever you seek, it is very unlikely you will find it there. The cenobium's gates open for precious few visitors. Even if they did, you would not like what you found inside. My heart sinks. Is he saying that I came all this way for nothing? Risked life and limb for nothing? Literally lost my fucking arm for nothing? No, that can't be. I've only just arrived, and Iridia's the largest city still standing. There has to be a cure for me here. Then if not the cenobium, where would you suggest? Do you know anyone else in Iridia? I shake my head. Then I suggest a local guide. Head to the Wet Wick and ask for Leander. My husband! Excuse me? The wet what? The Wet Wick. He sounds deeply unamused. Follow the postings advertising Leander's bloodhounds. They are difficult to miss. When you meet Leander, tell him I sent you. That isn't much to go on, but Curious points towards the clinic's back door. You will be safe so long as you do not draw attention to yourself. That's easier said than done. I've always been a magnet for the worst sort of attention. If you require my assistance, you may return whenever you wish. Though he's smiling, there's a note of finality in his voice. Resigned to my dismissal, I slip out of the back door. I find myself standing in a narrow and rather gloomy alley. I pull the new cloak up over my nose, stepping over the contents of chamber pots that have been emptied into the street. Ew. Something weighs heavily inside one of the cloak's pockets, my coin purse. Everything is still inside, every last coin that I scraped together for the journey to Iridia. It doesn't even look like it was opened. There were so few coins to begin with, they probably weren't worth stealing. I glance back at the clinic's closed door. Curious didn't take any payment. He didn't even ask for a future favor. But he also said that in Iridia, secrets are power. Does he expect me to give up mine at some point? That's not exactly a comforting thought. Still, no matter why he did it, Curious gave me a second chance and a lead on where I might find help. I'd better get going, before he changes his mind. I squeeze out of the alley and into the crowded main street. The line outside Curious's clinic stretches down the road already. Two thin peddlers queue alongside weathered elders. If any place is in desperate need of a free clinic, it's this one. The cobblestones are treacherously rough under my feet, deep grooves worn between them by regular flooding and decades of hard use. I knew Iridia was a river city, but I didn't expect it to look so eroded. The buildings are tired and dilapidated, all crammed together in narrow streets. A child darts by, clutching something greasy wrapped in paper. The smell of fried food drifts over to me. My stomach gives a faint gurgle. This morning's catch, fried up hot and fresh. Not too many eyeballs today. That sounds disgusting, but I'm starving, so I duck my head under the stall's grubby awning. A large fish leers up at me, its three bulging eyes still visible through the thick layer of crispy batter. The vendor gives me a gap-toothed grin. What's the cheapest thing you've got? The vendor points at a metal basket of what looks like long strips of savory fried dough. Fresh long, lads. 3 copper apiece. Don't burn your mouth. I take the coins out, counting them gingerly. At this rate, I might not even be able to afford dinner. Reluctantly, I drop the payment on the counter and take my meal. Fried long boys? Is that what he said? 2 streets later, I pass under a wrought iron archway adorned with dangling garlands of red and pink lilies. The building in this quarter The buildings in this quarter are a dizzying riot of color, painted walls, and tinted glass everywhere I look. Sheer red and pink curtains flutter in open doorways. Musical voices call out invitingly. Incense mingles with the pungent scent of flowers, barely covering the salt and musk of warm bodies. This must be Iridia's entertainment district. I'm polishing off my food and dusting the crumbs from my hands when I spot a poster. It features the silhouette of a smiling man wearing a single dagger-like earring and the word Bloodhounds printed above his head. A motto, as above, so below, circles the artwork. If Leander is the leader of the Bloodhounds, then the face printed on the poster is likely his. I follow the line of identical posters around a corner, oh my god, and nearly hit my head on a precariously dangling wooden sign. Looking up, faded orange letters read, "The Wetwick." The facade of the building looks like it's seen better days, but I hear faint music and laughter coming from inside. The inside of the bar is a far cry from the abandoned exterior. It's not even midday, yet most of the tables and booths are occupied by a loose assembly of people in matching green cloaks. I'm no stranger to bars. Sometimes I would take my books to the local tavern for a change of scenery, but I much prefer quieter places. Speaking of quieter, is it too loud? No, it's fine. It's fine, right? It's fine. A cursory glance doesn't turn up anyone with a dagger-shaped earring. I'm about to head towards the counter when a chant rises from the center of the room. Show, show, show. The remaining green cloaks abandon the bar and their booths to rush towards the center of the room in a sudden torrent. There's no time to move out of the way. I'm caught, swept along in the ale-stenched current. Hey! Rhythmic chanting drowns out my voice. I thrash, throwing out my elbows as the press of bodies grows heavier. My hip knocks into a table. I grip it, holding on tight to steady myself. But the crowd has stilled, the chanting stopped. A pair of gilded boots stride across the tabletop. My husband. Oh my god, it's time. Chat. Seriously, you dogs. Again? Scattered laughter and cheers rise from the audience. I drag my eyes upwards. A well-dressed man stands on the table in front of me, his broad shoulders framed by the thick lapels of a trench coat. This really is the last time, alright? This time when he speaks, the audience falls silent, as though bewitched by his magnetic presence or rich, low voice. Ah, I'm dying! Okay, I'm normal. I'm so normal. I'm normal. But nothing is as captivating as his smile. He beams at the crowd around him, a performer on his makeshift stage. Don't blink or you'll miss it. He laughs and the dagger-shaped earring dangling from his left ear catches the light in a flash of gold. It would seem I found Leander. He raises his hand above the audience and snaps. A flash of pale green light, real magic, no ordinary stage trick, blinds me. As the brilliance ebbs, my gaze refocuses on the mage towering above me. He flicks his wrist, and the magic spiraling around him coalesces. First of all, look at my man. Look at my guy. He's my favorite. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. He's the best. Look at him. I missed him. I cannot wait for this whole game to come out so I can eat him. Okay. A delicate flower stem sprouts from between his pinched fingers. One by one, glowing lily petals spring forth. With a flourish, the mage presents the conjured flowers. The audience bursts into clapping and cheers. My mouth hangs open, and not just on account of the impressive performance. There was no incantation, no spell circle. Oh. My bad. I've never seen something so beautiful and intricate conjured so effortlessly. Leander must be an incredibly gifted mage. No wonder Curious recommended him. Leander plucks the iridescent bouquet out of the air and turns in a slow circle, giving his audience a good look. Now, who could use some good luck? Me, bitch. Eager onlookers scoot closer to the table. Some reach for the lilies, while others whistle and call Leander's name. But his cool green eyes slide right over them, locking on me instead. Okay, maybe I'm a pick-me, but in that moment, nobody could tell me anything. Like, if that was me, it'd be over. How about you? My chest tightens. Every person gathered turns to stare at me. Take the flowers or refuse. You fucking know I'm taking these flowers. You don't even have to ask. I reach out, all too aware of the way my fingers tremble as I carefully take the flowers from him. There's no weight to them, only a faint warmth that radiates from the stems. As soon as the flowers leave Leander's hand, their light dims. They fade away in a shower of opalescent light. To my surprise, Leander laughs under his breath. That's the problem with flowers. They don't last long, but they leave an impression, right? He grins at me, and I find myself smiling back. The way I've been smiling this whole time. Like, as soon as he showed up on screen, my face stuck. Leander steps off the table, dropping among the excited crowd with an audible clink. Alright, bloodhounds, get back to your drinks. Show's over. The green cloaks disperse at his command, returning to their tables and booths. Before I can make my way towards Leander, his eyes find me. Ah! Oh my god, my husband! He gives me a friendly wave, then beckons me over to the crowded counter. I manage to squeeze beside him, but there's so little room that his broad shoulder presses against mine. I tense, but he doesn't seem to mind at all. Is this your first time in Iridia? Okay, I need to calm down. I need to chill. Like, it's not that big of a deal. He says it lightly, with a genuine air of curiosity. Do I stick out that much? No, but I'm certain I'd remember seeing a face as lovely as yours around Lowtown. My eyes flicker to the polished countertop. I'm not used to flattery, and being this close makes eye contact difficult. As if on cue, the bartender approaches us. What can I get you? Surprise me, and add anything my friend wants to my tab. I wasn't expecting the generosity, but I have to admit I do feel a little thirsty after all that fried dough. I'll have what he's having, or water's good. We're probably dehydrated as hell. But I'll have what he's having. While the bartender leaves to fix our drinks, Leander leans his elbow on the counter. I'm close enough to notice the purple shadows under his lower lids. His eyes wander over me in return, but when they lock on my bandaged hands, a sour taste rises in my throat. Here comes the questions. So, what brings you to the Wick? Kira sent me. He pushes his hair back from his forehead, but it immediately falls right back into place. So, it's about work. The bartender returns with a pair of glasses filled with what I can only assume is beer. I raise my glass and give it an experimental sniff. It smells faintly yeasty, but with an undercurrent I can't quite place. A quick sip confirms my worst suspicion. It's awful, somehow briny and sour in a way that reminds me of pickles. But any thought of complaining dies the moment I look up and see Leander taking a deep swig from his glass. He lets out a satisfied breath. How can I be of assistance? I need to get to the cenobium. As soon as the word cenobium leaves my mouth, the entire bar falls silent. Bloodhounds twist around in their seats to gawk openly. Finally, an especially drunk one speaks up. The hell are you bringing up the cenobium in here? Throw him out, this is bloodhound territory. The vitriol catches me off guard. From the angry looks thrown my way, it's clear I've broken some unspoken rule, but just by mentioning the cenobium. When I glance at Leander, he's drinking, as though he hasn't noticed the uproar. Only when he catches me looking does he lower his glass. For the love of... He drags a hand down his face. Hey, keep it down, will you? This is business. I tense, expecting an argument, but the outspoken bloodhounds silently return to their drinks. Only a handful continue to watch me warily. Sorry about them. The cenobium's a bit of a touchy subject in these parts. Mix in enough drinks, and, well, you saw. How about we continue this outside? When I give him a terse nod, hello? 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 He pushes away from the bar counter. Sorry. I follow Leander to an alleyway tucked behind the wet wick, where layers of frayed bloodhound posters have been plastered to the walls. Seeing them side by side, the resemblance between Leander and his likeness on the posters is impressive. Curious didn't send you here for help with the cenobium, did he? From the look he gives me, he already knows the answer. I glance away. No, he didn't. He suggested I find an alternative. Yet here you are, asking about them anyway. What do you need the cenobium for? I don't want to tell him about my curse. The less people know about my capabilities, the better. Thankfully, Leander takes my reluctant silence as an answer. Well, I see you're already aware of the city's currency. Information's worth its weight in gold here. Curious told you the truth. The cenobium's dangerous. Get on their bad side and they'll imprison you if you're lucky, or torture you if you're not. Torture? My teacher never described anything like that. But the cenobium's supposed to be a place of learning, a sanctuary. The cenobium has always been heralded as the last bastion of human knowledge, a shining beacon of hope in a world steeped in nightmares. If any place held answers, it would be the cenobium. That's why I came here. That's what they want you to think, but things that seem too good to be true are often just that. Such a simple statement, and yet it leaves me reeling. If it's true, if I staked everything on a lie, then what now? Leander clears his throat. But as I always say, there's solutions to every problem, and alternatives to every solution. He claps his hands and turns to me with a brilliant smile. That's why Curious pointed you to the bloodhounds. Let us help you. Whether it's hunting soulless, finding people, or recovering stolen valuables, we can do it all, and free of charge. Hello? Free? I'm shaking my head before he's even finished his practice speech. My patience is wearing dangerously thin. Listen, I appreciate the offer, but my problem can't be solved by a group of good Samaritans. To my chagrin, Leander nods slowly. Then your problem must be fairly serious, and if the cenobium's your first choice, you're searching for a magical solution, aren't you? With my eyes widen, he nods along as though he suspected all along. I'd be happy to help you out. That is, if you'll tell me what ails you. Leander might not work for the cenobium, but if his show was any indication, then he's even stronger than the mage who raised me. She couldn't do anything about my curse, but maybe... I'm silent, plagued by indecision. I don't know if I can trust him, but it's not like I have any alternatives. I hate to admit it, but this could be my only path forward. My confession comes out in a pained whisper. I'm cursed. Cursed? Oh, now I'm very curious. What kind of curse? Something ancestral or more recent? He looks me up and down, taking in my face, my eyes, and finally, my hands. It's your hands, isn't it? I wait until I'm certain my voice will remain steady before answering. My touch is dangerous. It changes people, hurts them. Before I've even finished, Leander begins taking his glove off. I'm so excited! He tugs his left hand free and flexes his fingers. Let's see it. He offers me his hand, and a prismatic flash of magic ripples across his palm. An enchantment for protection, but I'm already shrinking backwards. I can't. I don't care how confident Leander is, I can't bring myself to hurt him, to see his kind face twist into a mask of madness. Believe me, this isn't an ordinary curse. I'll be fine. Perhaps where you came from, your affliction was strange and one of a kind. But spend a year in this city, you'll see thousands of curses and thrice as many cures. Do you really think Curious would send you here if I couldn't handle it? How should I know? I only met him today. I'm as good as any mage in the cenobium. Better, even. If they can help, so can I. You don't know what you're asking me. I'm asking you to trust me. I look from Leander's outstretched hand to his confident smile. Then, with a short breath, I begin unwinding the bandages from my hand. Okay, fine. But if you lose control, don't say I didn't warn you. You can tie me up first, if that makes you feel better. With each joint I expose, I grow more and more certain that this is a terrible idea. Ready when you are. If he's bothered by the way my hand looks, he doesn't show it. My fingers hover shakily over his palm. 3, 2, 1. Oh my god, not ads about to start. I'm back. I miss you. I miss you, Jabby. You came back just in time. I'm so... Okay, we're gonna reel it in. I hesitate at the last second, but Leander does not. His hand closes tightly around mine. Ah! Okay, the instant his fingers graze mine, his expression goes blank. Leander? I try to pull away, but he won't let go. My stomach sinks, fear clutching me even harder than Leander's grip as he takes a slow, deliberate step closer. His free hand rises, outstretched fingers angling towards my neck. No, you're just fine. Interesting. That's one hell of a curse. His hand lands gently on my shoulder to steady me. I didn't even realize I was shaking. I search Leander's face for traces of madness, but his eyes remain a clear, soft green. Color rises in his cheeks, but he remains still except for the subtle bobbing of his throat. I'm gonna do inappropriate things. I'm gonna get banned from Twitch.tv. Neither of us speak as I trace the contours of Leander's palm, lost in an awareness I wasn't prepared for. I've been with other people, kissed them, been embraced by them, and more, but not like this. My fingers, long deprived by years of bandaging, pick up every single detail. The grooves of his palm, the smooth shell of his nails, the pulse of his heart. For as long as I've lived, I've never been able to hold someone's hand, not without dire consequences. I never realized what I was missing until this moment. While Leander's pulse is steady, mine is hammering as fear gives way to excitement. Ah! Keep touching him. My hand glides over Leander's wrist and up his forearm, where smooth skin abruptly gives way to the raised scar by the edge of his sleeve. Oh my god, fuck you, ads. Am I the first person you've been able to touch like this? My hand goes still on his arm. So far. I'll admit your touch does make it somewhat difficult to stay level-headed, but not due to your power. He takes my hand. His soft green eyes flick to mine before he turns it to inspect the golden fissures crisscrossing my knuckles. Look, we match. He points at the golden pin on his coat collar, and I give him a small smile. I draw my hand back and take a steadying breath. My head feels as though it's been stuffed with cotton. Habit alone guides me through the motions of rewrapping my hand, although my fingers tremble too much for the bandages to lie flat. I can't believe that worked. May I ask your name? I'm Pinky. You were right to hide this from me, Pinky. That curse of yours, it's unlike anything I've ever dealt with. I can tell you're discreet, but you best not go showing that off to anyone else. I didn't plan on it. Are you staying in Lowtown? I pause. Room and board was something I hadn't yet considered. I don't know. Let's get you properly settled then. That was crazy. My heart is pounding, chat. I've already experienced this like 3 times. I love this game. Okay. The Wetwick is noticeably quieter. Without their leader, most of the bloodhounds have dispersed, or in a few cases, fallen asleep beside their drinks. Got any rooms left, or did my lot grab them all to sleep it off? The bartender, who I now realize doubles as an innkeeper, slides a key onto the counter. You know I always keep the corner room open for your escapades. Hello? Leander's laugh sounds slightly strained. And I always appreciate it, but you're mistaken. This is just for my friend Pinky. Sure, stay as long as you like. You two have fun. Escapades, huh? Leander clears his throat, then holds the key out to me. But I hesitate. My coin purse barely holds enough for a day's worth of meals, let alone a room. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Bloodhound rates. My treat since you shared your secret. Food, drink, a warm bed, anything you need. Carefully, I take the key from him. It's small, but it weighs heavy in my palm. I never expected to have a warm bed in Iridia, let alone free meals. Thank you. Go explore, Pinky. You'll find many roads in Iridia, each leading to a different answer. But if you need a reprieve from what haunts you, come find me. Just be careful. I nod, taking one last look at the gleaming bronze key before tucking it into the pocket of my cloak for safekeeping. Leander gives me one last friendly wave before I depart. And ads are over. The air clings, sodden and heavy. Without the morning crowd, the sunless streets look barren and bleak. Even the peddlers are long gone. Only a pair of crows remain quibbling over stale crusts in a gutter. I feel a ridiculous pang of envy. At least they've got a reason to fight. I've never felt so lost. Cyrus and Leander both made it clear that the Cenobium can't be trusted, but I came so far, endured so much. I need to see the Cenobium for myself, if only to satisfy my curiosity. I should have asked someone at the bar for directions before leaving. I'm about to turn back when a shadow passes over me. A cloud, I think, until a puff of hot breath tickles the back of my neck. The shadow runs down the street in rivulets. Formless dark spreads like ink into blotted shapes. Claws stretch, a muzzle splits open to reveal long, jagged teeth. A growl rumbles so low and deep I feel it. I want to run, to scream, but I feel trapped, as though the slightest movement or a single breath will snap the jaws around me shut. No, I won't let it end like this. If I'm going to die, I want to see what got me first. I steel myself, then turn. The shadow vanishes as quickly as it came. I'm left standing in the middle of the street, alone except for a figure reclining in the shade of a nearby stoop. Bestie. A monster, that much is clear from a glance. One that could clearly be mistaken for human were it not for the tufted ears, the tail curled around his ankle. Or the dusk-pink eyes with pupils that sharpen like needles when they fall on me. Our eyes meet and the monster uncrosses his long legs. His hair gleams a shade of red that reminds me unsettlingly of blood where it curls around his collared throat. What a slut pose, I love them. I know! The harness and everything. Jumpy, aren't you? His tone is so light and carefree that I glance over my shoulder to make sure he's speaking to me. When I look back, the stranger props his chin on his knuckles and regards me with an inscrutable little smile. Didn't you see that shadow just now? It was massive, moved like a beast. Even as I speak, I'm aware of how ridiculous I must sound, but the stranger's smile doesn't falter. The only beast I've seen are the Wicks drooling regulars, though this did catch my eye. With a flourish of his hand, my in-room key appears dangling from his fingers. It turns on his chain, glittering when it catches the light. Look at that thigh. Look at that little peek of a thigh. Also, he has the sluttiest waist in this game. Peace and love. My hands fly to my cloak's pockets, and sure enough, find them flat. He crooks his fingers, beckoning. I've already taken two steps forward before some stifled instinct stops me. Something feels wrong. I'm still on the edge, thrumming with so much adrenaline that the stranger's shadow flickers at the edge of my vision. I always attract the worst kind of attention, but I can't get rattled now. Who said that's my key, or where did you find it? Where did you find it? How'd you even find it? The key, I mean. What can I say? I'm a sucker for shiny things. Like a crow. He smiles wide enough to reveal pointed canines. I saw you drop it. You really should be more careful. City like this, somebody might take advantage. A bald-faced lie said without a hint of irony. I can't figure out how he picked my pockets under my nose, but I'm certain he took my key and I need it back. I approach the man, careful to keep an arm's length away. He doesn't look dangerous, but the most deadly ones never do. The stranger's chain softly clinks with the tilt of his head. His ears flick. Keeping your distance. I'd be stupid to trust you. You think I stole your dinky little key from all the way over here? He gives an exaggerated sigh. I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look like a common thief to you? You look like a W word. He's got me there. The sheer fabric of his sleeves alone would be too expensive for most street thieves. Hell, his shoes look like they cost more than I spent traveling here. And then there's the shop behind him. No matter the city, parted pink curtains only ever mean one thing. I'm not looking to buy, and I doubt I could afford your services anyway. Luckily for you, I don't charge. The man runs the tip of his tongue over a fang, and for the first time since I stepped into that shadow, I feel something other than dread. My face grows hot. That's not what I meant. I'm flattered, really. Were sex my trade, I might make an exception for you. How about half off for a handy? Or you could just hand over my key. Ask nicely, and I might even let you tug my tail. Just throw it here. So some spindly little street urchin can snatch it and run? Oh, my bad, I tapped out. He raises my key and tilts his head so he can watch it dangle back and forth. I suppose I could just claim your room for myself. Not that I'd be caught dead slumming it in the wick with the rest of those slack-jawed imbeciles. You're obviously not from around here, so tell me, traveler, what misfortune brought you to this wretched place? His voice practically drips with derision. I'm not telling you anything. What could have possibly drawn you to this dreary little pig pen, I wonder? He listlessly watches the arc of my key swinging around his finger. The weather's shit, the food's dreck, and there's entirely too many monsters for a human to feel safe. Unless... Dagger-sharp eyes flick towards me. They gleam with amusement. Unless you're just dying to consort with monsters. By now, my embarrassment has worn away, leaving simmering impatience in its wake. If this is a shakedown, it's the most frustrating one I've ever heard of. Turn him down or flirt back. I'm never one to resist a little flirt action. How'd you know that I spent all my money, starved, and nearly died in a swamp just so I can crawl into bed with the first thirsty monster I saw? That earns me a burst of breathy laughter. He gazes at me under his dark lashes. Aren't you funny? Could you be any more obvious? I've been told subtlety's not my strength. So, your place or mine? I'd invite you if I had my key. If only I had my key, then I might be able to invite you up. His languid gaze glides from me to the key in his hand and back. Come, take my hand, and we'll go together. The more he flirts, the more convinced I become that this is some kind of trap. No matter how innocent monsters look, they always have tricks up their sleeves. And something tells me that this one's more dangerous than he lets on, even if he has a lovely laugh. I don't know what you want or why you're messing with me, but I'm not coming any closer until I know you aren't going to attack or bite. I won't bite hard unless you beg me. Anyway, no matter what I say, he finds a way to twist my words into innuendo. Even when I'm silent, he goes on as though we're having a conversation, not a standoff. Do you like dancing? There's a traveling troupe performing in Hightown tonight. Their ludus is utterly exquisite, truly a performance to die for. Hello? Oh my gosh, thank you for the prime sub, Cherry Cricket. Welcome in. I forgot that was my sub noise. Welcome in. Thank you for coming. Hello? Oh, okay. There's life in this dreaded place, if you know where to look. You sound like you know the city well. The man's gaze flickers from me to the key dangling from his finger. Naturally, this dump was little more than a miserable little smear when I first arrived. Hightown, Lowtown, I know Iridia like the back of my hand. What about the Cenobium? Do you know where that is? His smile vanishes. Surely you've seen it. That absurdly large tower looming over the rest. It's a little hard to miss. He must mean the spire I noticed when I first caught sight of Iridia. The Cenobium's overrated. Forget about it. I can show you things those stuffy boars in their limp dick tower couldn't even dream of. I've already got plans. Oh, have you some pressing matters at the Cenobium? Lunch dates with librarians? Tea time with the most esteemed abbess? That's my business. What's it matter to you? I square my shoulders and the amusement bleeds out of him. Your loss. The stranger, finally bored of this tedious game, extends his hand towards me. The key rests on his palm, neatly dividing skin and leather. When he makes no other move, I reach for the key, but as soon as my fingers graze smooth brass, his hand springs shut around my elbow. Oh shit. Hey! He yanks me down, and I stagger, my soul slipping on the steps. For a sick moment, I fear my bandages will unravel under his touch, but he's careful not to disturb them even as his fingers dig in my arm. I know I smelled blood. You reek of death and the road. And that fucking doctor. His voice, once silken, lowers to a smoky growl. The shadows around him seethe and boil as he pulls me closer. And something else. He murmurs against my throat, nose grazing my jaw. Let go. I try to twist away, but he doesn't budge. His breath trails down my neck, sending a thrill of dread through me. But just when I fear he'll bite, he takes a deep whiff instead. His wide, flat eyes gleam with naked hunger as he gazes up at me. Okay, listen. Every time he slowly seduces me. Every fucking time I play this. Not quite human, not quite monster. Seems we're both... Oh god, I don't remember how to pronounce his name. I think it's Vere. The stranger's ears flatten, and he releases me with a short breath. I yank my arm back, massaging it where his grip left grooves in the bandages. The stranger twists around to watch a woman duck out from the curtains behind him. Her cenobium uniform is nearly identical to the one my mentor kept tucked away in her closet. I leave you for all of what, 10 minutes, and you're making trouble again. Will you quit harassing the tourists? The stranger, Vere, I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the cleric a withering smile. So suspicious. Can't you see this is a friend of mine? A natural liar. He grins at me and his tail swishes minutely. The woman purses her lips at me, clearly unconvinced. I open my mouth to correct him, but Vere cuts in. I was graciously offering my dear friend some free advice. Though his voice remains light and cheerful, his expression darkens. Danger's drawn to you like a moth to a flame. It will always find you, given the time. The woman clucks her tongue as though she's heard the recital 102 times. Word of advice: don't take free advice from lazy foxes lounging in the streets. This crook would sell water to a drowning man for the sheer enjoyment of it. She shrugs off a wilting look from Vere. Oh please, any friend of yours knows it's true. Now hold still. Vere rises gracefully at her approach. He pushes his hair aside so it drapes over one shoulder, exposing the long line of his neck. And suddenly, it dawns on me that the jingling I heard earlier wasn't coming from the harness attached to his collar, but a leash. A heavy iron chain wound around a hitching post and padlocked to the back of his collar. Vere posed deliberately to hide his leash from me. The woman produces a key ring from her pocket. She rifles through a dozen identical keys before selecting one and slotting it into the lock. Bark, 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 bark. We love leashes around here. But chains and whips excite me. Rihanna, circa 2008. His harness, dude. I wish his whole outfit was sheer. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love the details in the character models. They're so good. Okay. Come on. Unless your friend's tagging along our merry little soulless hunt. They're hunting for solace inside the city? Words momentarily fail me. The ears. I'm a sucker for catboys / fuckboys. You know this about me. I do know this about you. I was there last night. The woman regards me with a polite, if tight, smile before marching down the stairs. Vere lingers. He stretches his arms over his head with a yawn, and I try not to stare at the way his stomach flattens when he arches his back. Your little secret's safe with me. Try not to get yourself killed, Vere hops off the stoop and bounds after the woman. His tail sways merrily, as though he hadn't just lied and threatened me. Did you try that thing I mentioned? The Levincian knot? That the one where you take 3 fingers and... Actually, don't tell me. Knowing you, it's disgusting. Vere's airy laughter echoes down the street. It's only after he and the cleric have vanished from sight that I realize I'm still missing something. Wait. Reflexively, I shove my hands into my pockets and find it, the room key. I pull it out of my pocket and raise it to the light just to be sure. A nagging feeling distracts from my relief. I don't know what Vere's game was, or what he wanted from me. All I know for certain is that the cenobium saw fit to leash him, a fate I could share if that's what his vague warning meant. I let my eyes drift skyward, past the lanterns gently swaying in the breeze to the cenobium faintly visible through the haze. Just one glimpse is all I need, then I can put this all behind me. This time, the key goes into my coin purse for safekeeping. Dude. A little street urchin kid is gonna snatch that. It's easy enough to follow the sluggish river that splits Iridia in two. A colossal bridge arches over the dark water below. I cross as quickly as I can, climbing ever uphill toward the distant tower. Hours later, legs aching, sweat beading on my forehead, I finally find what I was searching for. The cenobium of the luminous void. It stands at the highest It stands at the highest point of Iridia, surrounded by cold white walls. Well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the gates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the cenobium tower disappears into the clouds overhead. The gates are so heavily enchanted that even standing near them sets my teeth on edge. Alchemically reinforced locks, invisible sigils of alarm, and who knows what else. Knocking seems like a terrible idea, but I don't see any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the steps when something moves in my peripheral vision. A shadowy figure crouches beneath one of the white walls. They reach out and tug on a vine as if testing its strength. Oi, you there! The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spotted it, and a gaunt-faced man in a crisp charcoal uniform marches up the steps towards me. Ugh, another tourist. Get out of here once you're done gawking. A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words, and he turns on his heel without even waiting for an answer from me. I look back at where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing, just the leaves blowing gently in a cool breeze. Wild. I step away from the gates, hopelessness washing over me. Hello. A whisper so close I can feel the warm brush of breath on my skin. I instinctively jerk away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She's gaunt as a rail, her blouse moth-eaten. I'm unable to take my eyes off her, not because of the way she smiles a little too widely, or the way her tousled braids look unbrushed for days, but because her eyes shine a vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by their subtle glow. These days, you'd need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure how to respond, or if I even should. I'ma say nothing. After the experience I've just had, I'm not too keen on indulging strangers with small talk. Despite my silence, she maintains her unflinching stare and smile. Lucky for you, I have miracles for free. Whatever she's selling, I'm not interested. My words come out in a tired breath. No thanks. I start down the stairs, but she abruptly steps in my path. She turns her back to me, and before I can react, she slips her fingers under the lacing of her collar, stripping out of her blouse in broad daylight. What are you do? As worn fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen, sunken scar carves into the woman's body. Pitted, gnarled skin snakes down her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. A shuddering breath escapes me. The fuck? By the looks of it, the disease that afflicted this woman ate away at her spine, leaving her with a hollowed vertebrae at the back of her neck. How is she able to move or breathe? It's impossible. She shouldn't be alive, and yet... The power to cure anything can be yours too. The power of the sea spring. The woman slides back into her blouse and deftly laces it up. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. It's only a short walk away. Without another glance, she leisurely strolls down the cenobium stairs, loose braids bobbing behind her. The edge of her scar peeks out from under her collar. I stand there wordless until I manage to regain my bearings. It's a twisted miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. This could be the stupidest decision in my life, but what choice do I have? I take a final look at the cenobium's shut gates, then follow her down the steps. We descend from higher streets, leaving behind their gilded decadence as we cross the river. The wet, derelict district feels more familiar to me. But the crimson-eyed woman takes me farther, then farther still, until I'm met with an all-too-familiar sight. My gut lurches when I face the open horizon. The city's outskirts are hardly recognizable in daylight, and probably safer for it, but venturing beyond Iridia's walls is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon. Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you. I don't do anything straight, so jot that down. I bark out a bitter laugh, loud and involuntary. I'd rather not, or this is a setup. This is a setup, baby. This has to be a setup. As soon as I step out there, some friends of yours will ambush and mug me. If I wanted something from you, I would already have it. She says it so lightly I almost believe her, even if she looks as physically capable as a toothpick. You're as safe inside the city as out of it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all. What do you mean territory? This region belongs to Ace. Most people know him as a gang leader, but he's much more than that. I squint against the empty wastelands. Only a fool or someone with nothing to lose would leave the city. Apparently, I'm both. But if this sea spring cured her, I need to see what it can do for me. I set off into the wastes. Over my shoulder, the woman calls after me. Good luck, Pinky. I hope we meet again. I definitely didn't tell her my name. My heart pounds with each step I take from civilization. For what seems like an eternity, I force each foot forward, one step, then another, until a realization hits me. I never told the woman my name. Something pierces the horizon ahead of me. A building nestled into a tall cliffside, but so starkly out of place it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany, an ornate jewel of architecture. A row of dark silhouettes stands out on the horizon. Trees, I think, until I'm close enough to realize that what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils. Soulless, several of them watch me in the distance like statues. I don't think, I just run. Exploding into a messy sprint, I push my legs as fast as they'll take me towards that decorated building. Flashes of last night chase me, the gushes of blood and screams of death, the smells of burning flesh and sour bile. I can't go through that again. I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs and crashing through towering double doors. Chat. Something about that made me really crave Burger King just now. I don't know why. I have no idea what could have possibly made me think of Burger King in that moment. But I really want a double Whopper right now. I gasp for air, my lungs burning from exertion. I'm desperate to be safe, but when I process my surroundings, it's more hellscape than sanctuary. Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth. But the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. I swallow thickly, convincing myself that it's not as gruesome as it appears. This has to be the Sea Spring, the place that grants miracles. I'm gonna look at this place real quick. Hello, the teacups? I wonder if he sleeps here. Pulling my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of my environment. Tall pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes. Seating pillows scatter the floor. A rustic kettle sits nearby. Someone must live here, despite how eerily empty it is. This guy is my favorite. I think he's everyone's favorite. Including me. However, Leander is my baby girl, so I have to stay loyal. I'm gonna call out. Hello, is anyone here? My voice echoes across the cavern without response. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here can tell me more. I reach for the topmost, the closest one, or the bottommost. I am a bottom. I reach for a note at the lower end. It reads, "They watch me through the mirrors. They won't stop staring. They know what I did, but they won't have me. I'm safe now, I'm safe now, I'm safe now." Oh god, I can't read that. Oakley Dzovah Zovapun Zahi Ols Hastivza Spalzlapun. The writing deteriorates into unintelligible scrawl. Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Something's watching me. I quickly set the note back, my eyes darting around the wooden deck, but it's still empty, vacant. Finally, I look towards the sea spring. That stillness hides something deeper, something wrong. Hey. It's time for Big Daddy. I spin around and come face to face with a pack of soulless. They chitter and growl, tendrils and spikes flaring threateningly, all different sizes and species, but sharing one identical trait, glowing crimson eyes. I try to back away, but my heel teeters over the sea spring. I'm cornered. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. That's what she said. The that voice again. At the sound of it, the soulless freeze, their snarls quieting. Oh my god! I search for the voice's source and find it above me, lounging in the rafters. Oh my god, Daddy's home! You look lost, little sparrow. His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaves me feeling raw and exposed. They're the same eyes I've seen over and over. Smash. First with the scarred woman, now with the soulless circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. In the shroud of darkness behind me, shapes like massive tentacles twist and coil around the wooden beams. I can't focus. The soulless growls ring in my ears. They're not advancing, but that could change at any second. Panic rises in my throat as I struggle to track them. I can tell he hates me already and I love him. Hello? Hey. Eyes on me. Ah! Okay. Major Sukuna vibes consume me, Daddy. And that's the truth. And that's on T. My stomach rolls. I love you guys so much. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the soulless. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. I'm on T. But before a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this bastard? I'm distracted, or fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you, bitch. Why are you talking to me like that? I look right into his unnerving eyes, holding his gaze defiantly. Fuck you. Is that better? A crooked grin cracks across his face. We'll work on it. Hello, we named him bastard. I scan the soulless again. They really aren't attacking, posturing more than anything else, almost as if they're waiting for commands. Did you tame them? Power of the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might bite. You could give me a reason to stop them. How about I didn't do anything wrong? Trespassing. And that's punishable by death? He gives a non-committal shrug. You're so right, he's so Sukuna vibes. I called out earlier to see if anyone was here. Were we supposed to play hide and seek? Didn't hear you. My voice stops in my throat. This man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I rack my brain for a way to defuse the situation. I need help, or tell me what you want. Oh, this is a tough one. I'm gonna say I need help. Okay, fine. I need help. I thought the sea spring could cure me, somehow. My voice wavers pathetically. Honesty has never been my strong suit. He cants his head up to the side, appraising me, but doesn't respond. I fidget nervously. I'm telling you I came here for help. Are you listening? Your hands. Alarm jolts through me. I hide my hands under my cloak. Show me. Why? Won't ask twice. Dude, he's kinda getting me in my nads. With a sharp huff, I reluctantly hold out my bandaged hands. Are you getting off on this? Kinda. Unwrap them. Heat rushes to my face and fire to my tongue. I should give him a piece of my mind, but not when his soulless are one command from ripping me to shreds. Yet, no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. My hands are trembling when I finally raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well, the hideous, unnatural flesh I've grown to despise. I grip the edge of the bandages. Stop. With a weary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot. He's a monster, with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big. I know he's big in a lot of other places too. Illuminated by lantern light, his features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clinks of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. I could have sworn he had like bondage ropes around him or something. Am I making that up? Like he had like some red ropes, I could swear. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? I step backwards and find nothing to set my foot on. I'd forgotten my back was to the sea spring. I fall right before a warm hand catches my lower back. I'm playing as easily and I was still able to get Harumasa, I'm screaming and crying. I'm so happy for you. I cannot believe how much they're blessing you with boys. They just know that you're so fucking gay that you need boys, or else you're gonna quit the game. I'm hovering over the sea spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine. Told you to watch your step. I'm too stunned to muster a response. Bro, I'm gonna bust, okay? Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his fingers, the souls around us disperse and relax. The shift in their demeanor is so abrupt it gives me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though now I doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Thanks. As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways, checks the contents of the kettle with a scowl. The sudden disregard is almost insulting. So that's it? I'm not a threat anymore? Never were one? Then why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. In other words, he was messing with me. I drag a hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. You're Ace, aren't you? Depends who's asking. One of your friends told me this was your territory. She also said you were a gang leader. But there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Ace picks up the kettle and walks to the edge of the sea spring, then dumps out the contents into the endless red. Gang took a walk. His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. He's so precious and psychotic, and I love that. Then, in an instant, it drops. I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. You said you came here for help. Depends. Can the sea spring cure a curse? Probably. You mean you don't know? Nope. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Are you being irritating on purpose? Listen, Sparrow. The sea spring can cure anything. Nothing's stopping you from trying it yourself. What do I have to do? Drink. I have to drink from the sea spring? My eyes glide to the blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my gut churn. It's not as if I'm averse to elixirs or decoctions. I've made my fair share of them, but one misstep and you can easily meet with a fate worse than death. Is there a price? Always. Ace taps his temple with a finger. You lose it a little bit. That's it? Might have already beat it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused fanged grin. This is a little different. When you drink from the sea spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who ever drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless. One big happy family in your head. My blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. Some legends suggest that independent minds can be physically linked together through a strong enough catalyst. It's never been done before. But something tells me this is real, even if one thing doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too, but you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Before I can finish my sentence, Ace strides past me towards the entrance. Time's up, let's finish this later. Wait, already? You barely told me anything. Came on a bad day, I've got somewhere to be. There's still so many questions burning on the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, but instead I get threatened and kicked out. You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host's mood. Is he nice? And I say that with love. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. My eyes dart back over to the sea spring. A lone ripple dances on the quiet surface. I take Ace's advice and clamp my mouth shut. I don't need him to be nice. He just needs to get the job done. Amen. Ace approaches a nearby soulless, a lanky, dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly when Ace squats beside it. He runs his fingers through the tendrils, scratching its chin and pats its head. A gentle smile plays across Ace's lips. The affection he holds for the soulless is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Following a short whistle from Ace's lips, it trots over to the entrance obediently, tail swaying. I watch the soulless warily. Pretty is not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. It's a lot to process, but I give a small nod. At least I know I have another option for a cure, as disturbing as it may be. I follow the soulless at a measured distance and watch it nudge the giant doors open with ease. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one last glance behind me. My heart skips when I meet Ace's eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he just flashes me an easy smile. Till next time, Sparrow, I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. Yes, sir. I don't try myself to do anything but respond with another curt nod. He's so daddy. Like, I don't even care. Outside, more crimson-eyed soulless scuttle about. It's hard to believe it's the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in the bog's mud. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the soulless looks over its shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following. Dusk darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. The soulless sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. Hold on, I need some water. And then I immediately spilled the water down my chest. Hold on a second. Jesus. It's so cold. Okay. Whoa. Okay, I'm untrimmed. Why am I being punished? Whoa. Okay. I'm gonna pet the soulless. The soulless kind of reminds me of my dog. She's not as vicious as she looks. For a chihuahua. As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the soulless's tendrils and scratch beneath its chin, just like Ace had. It pushes into my palm in response, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr. The vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the soulless spins around and scampers back in the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. It's barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible, tame soulless being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day. Maybe so. Who have we not met yet? I think just Min, right? Nightfall creeps across the streets of Iridia. The city, labyrinthine even in daytime, has become a warren of treacherous alleyways. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city abandoned. I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing toward the wet wick. Ew. My steps slow when I hear rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, but everything is still. Is the silence playing tricks on me? Something's wrong. The fine hairs on the back of my neck prickle. A frisson... Is that how you pronounce that? A frisson of discomfort running down my spine. Something is wrong. My eyes start from one side of the street to the other, searching for movement, but the shadows are as deep and dark as pools of ink, and I see nothing. I can't stay here. I need to reach a busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tighter around my body, I hurry on my way. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass and nothing happens, I begin to wonder, maybe I really did imagine that noise. I turn the next corner, and my thoughts come screeching to a halt. My head spins, the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. The haze. Jesus. The soulless that attacked the caravan. It's crouched over a dark, indistinct shape, a body. A garland of intestines spills from pallid flesh. Blood grouts the cobblestones. For mercy, the Solus is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel as heavy as stones, but I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet, slurping sounds don't abate, I take another, then another. Then a shard of glass crunches under my heel. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the Solus raises its head, blood dripping from its tendrils. Every single one of its sulphurous, bulging eyes fix unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It's come back for me. Run. I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened streets. Oh my god. Behind me, a piercing bay splits the silence, and heavy footballs pound after me. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. I can hear its breathing now, a wet, fluttering rasp, growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed my arm swipe out. I duck, saved by pure reflex, and skid around a corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way, a dead end. When I turn around, the Solus looms in the entry to the alleyway. It's no longer running. It doesn't have to. As it crawls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining the street are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but... let's try the nearest door. I whirl, grabbing at the handle of the closest door. It turns completely, the hinges creaking as I push, and I feel a flash of hope, before a weight hits the door from the other side and it slams shut. You rat bastard! The click of the lock turning is grimly final. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood, never mind a stranger. The Solus gives a rasping hiss. It's the only warning I get before it lunges for me with a flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side, but the slick cobblestones betray me. I fall, sprawling over the rough stone. As the Solus looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends on me for the kill. GG, chat. But the impact never comes. Oh my god, we're hot girl shit. I warily crack one eye open, then the other, not sure whether I should believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one blood-stained hand outstretched. Take a fucking sip, babes. Moonlight silvers the edges of their stiletto knife. Their face and hands are splattered in blood, and the Solus... My eyes start past my unexpected rescuer to the misshapen form behind them. The Solus's many eyes, once restless and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. A red pool spreads slowly from under its body. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead. After all the people it's killed, after nearly killing me twice, I can hardly believe it. Well? I gingerly take the offered hand. The stranger's gaze dips to my bandages. Pale lips part, on the brink of a question, then close again. With a strength belying their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me and start wiping the blood from their face and hands. Stay there. They turn away from me stiffly, leaning over the Solus's gangly body. With their back towards me, I realize that I saw their hooded silhouette at the cenobium. You're at the cenobium, you saved me, or you're shorter than I thought. You saved me. Let's mind our business, and let's also not be a bitch. I shouldn't have had to. Their harsh response takes me aback. Before I can formulate a response, they continue. What are you thinking, traveling alone at night? Okay, maybe I should have been a bitch then, if we're gonna be bitches together. This is far from the worst thing haunting Lowtown. I can't make heads or tails of them. First they save me, and now they scold me? Lesson learned. I could do without the lecture, though. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention glides back to the Solus's corpse. They examine it with an inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to fill the silence. I'm Pinky. Min. Suddenly, Min tenses. Their blade flashes as they drive it into the base of the Solus's skull, right between the cervical vertebrae. The Solus thrashes once, letting out a rattling hiss as the air leaves its lungs. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper, until there's a sickening crunch and the creature goes limp. My heart thuds in my chest. It must have been clinging to life by a thread. Min straightens up, withdrawing their blade in a single smooth motion. Better to put wretched things like this out of their misery. They calmly clean the blood from their knife. They struck with surgical precision. Their quick, clean movements are familiar. Are you a scientist, or why is a soulless inside the city? Are you a scientist? Min stops mid-motion, lifting their head to stare at me. You knew exactly where to strike. Have you studied anatomy or medicine? Not quite. Why is the soulless inside the city? Min looks at me, eyes searching, before realization dawns. You're new here. There's no walls around the city. Soulless can come and go as they please, unless someone is contracted to stop them. The Cenobium's patrols don't bother to protect Lowtown, not anymore. Let me guess, you're not a fan of the Cenobium. I wouldn't go that far. Their brow abruptly furrows, and they sheath their knife, motioning for me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. I'm not quite sure what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in the city. I trail behind them as they stride down the street. If it's so dangerous, then why are you helping me? I came for the bounty on that soulless, and you were in my way. Not killing you isn't the same as helping you. Don't count on being so lucky again, or you'll be dead by sunrise. I mean, we've been pretty lucky so far. Like, we got a free room. Leander's basically paying for our food. Vera did not eat us, which is lucky all on its own. And a hot guy was, like, mildly degrading us in his house. So, like, a win is a win. Their answer is stingingly harsh. I just need to find my lodgings. I hold my hands up, trying to forestall any more snippy comments. Alright, I get it. I'd love to get out of your way, but I'm sort of lost. I just need directions back to my lodgings. What makes you think I'll help you? Nothing, but there's no harm in asking. That seems to catch them off guard. Their brow knits, and they look away, scowling. How troublesome. Pinky? I turn, surprised by the voice. Curious walks down the street towards me. His white and gold clothing is pristine, despite the grime of the city. Hello, Min. I see that Solus was your work. Min shrugs. There's a familiarity to the way they regard each other. I didn't know you had friends, Min. I don't. Freelance work is dangerous, and Curious is a doctor. That's all. Pinky needs to get back to wherever she's staying, before she wanders into the jaws of another Solus. It is late. Were you able to find a place to stay, Pinky? I'm staying at the Wetwick. Both their faces fall. I see. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about alleyways. That would be nice. Min clicks their tongue and sighs, sounding mightily put out. Going to the Amaryllis district? That gaudy cesspit? Come, this way. Despite Min's clear distaste, when Curious leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Catching my curious glance, Min's eyes narrow. It's not safe this late. I don't care about you, but Curious is the only doctor worth a damn in this place. Damn, fuck you too, bitch. Are you like this with everyone? The deadpan look Min gives me is answer enough. I catch Curious hiding a slight smile. I suppress a sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to the Wetwick. The route Curious takes is completely different from my slow meandering earlier in the morning. In no time at all, he cuts through the darkened streets and twisting alleys. It seems like half the city has poured into the Amaryllis district's colorful streets. Laughter, clinking glasses, and music assault my ears from every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the Wetwick. Its doors hang wide open, lanterns lit. Here we are. He moves towards the door, and Min lets out an audible huff. Don't tell me you're going in. I have some quick business with Leander. Ugh, fine. He still owes me for yesterday's work. They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing me into the tavern. I get to see my husband again. As soon as the doors open, a wave of sticky heat rolls over me. In the hours since I left, the wick has grown suffocatingly crowded. Curious stands out, easily a head taller than most. Even so, I nearly lose sight of him amid the sea of swarming bodies. Pardon me. The crowd parts as though answering his request. Curious glances over his shoulder at Min and me before gliding through. How can anyone breathe in here? Min follows Curious at a clip pace. Leander is right where I left him, although he's traded places with the bartender. He holds a pair of shot glasses filled to the brim with luminous green liquid. And now for the finishing touch. A flash of magic paints the glasses white with frost. You're never gonna guess what's in these. Leander slides the glasses across the bar, and I get my third and fourth shocks of the evening in rapid succession. Ace leans against the bar, an elbow propped up on the counter. He catches the glasses and lifts one to the light before turning it upside down. The contents, magically congealed, stay firm in place. You're supposed to make drinks, pretty boy. Don't tell me you're wasted already. Vere, perched on the bar's counter beside Ace, takes a single look at the shot glass and shakes his head. What have we here? A bucket full of boogers? Leander's nose treasure? You've eaten worse. Vere's lips twitch and his ears flatten when Ace offers him a glass. He turns his cheek with a sniff and Ace just snickers. Coward. Don't tell me you're actually... In one fluid motion, Ace throws back his head and downs the shot. Ew! Drinking that. A dark look crosses Ace's face. It's Chewy. Chewy, wait, let me try that again. Behind me, Min grumbles. I told you this place was a nest of degenerates. If it isn't Curious and Min. At the sound of Leander's voice, Min's pale eyes grow wide. They look ready to bolt until Curious sets a hand on their shoulder. I promise this will not take long. Min's eyes dart from Curious's hand to his face, then soften. Fine, you first. While they step forward, I linger behind, struck by a sudden revelation. All of the people I've met today know each other. Good evening, Leander, Ace. Another drinking competition, I presume. Oh, is it evening already? Could have sworn it was earlier. Just some friendly rivalry, Doctor. Nothing to be afraid of. Curious acknowledges Leander and Ace with the slightest nod, ignoring Vere entirely. Not that Vere seems to mind. He tilts his head, and an impish smile curves his lips when he spots Min looming silently behind Curious. I almost didn't see you there, Min. Looking for your booster seat? Min pushes back their hood. They level Vere with a cool look. I thought Ace wasn't allowed to bring his pets in here. Vere's tail gives an angry twitch. They're so silly. At the first sign of an impending fight, Leander vaults clear over the counter. He slides in between Ace and Curious. Now, let's try and keep the peace. It's not every day the esteemed doctor takes us up on a drink. His arm snakes around Curious's shoulders. I never noticed the slight titty window that Curious has. Let's talk about that. You're finally taking me up on that drink, right, Curious? I am afraid not. We were merely escorting Pinky back to her lodgings. Curious gestures in my direction and my stomach sinks. I reluctantly step into the light. As soon as he sees me, Leander's face brightens. Pinky, it's been too long. Everyone, this is Pinky. She's new to Iridia. I feel 5 pairs of eyes fix onto me, and suddenly the bar feels suffocatingly small. My voice nearly catches in my throat. OMG, their name sounds like mine. You're right! Oh my god, Kira, I can't believe you're in this game. Also, hi! Welcome in, I love you. Hi again. Hi everyone. Again. Wait, you've already met everyone? Oh, I sure have, and you can bet your ass that I'm bending over for every single one. Ace and Vere level me with a subtly amused expression. Vere's tail gives a lazy wag. Hi, I love you. I love you. How's it going? How's your day? We did not that long ago either. I'm starting to suspect she's stalking me. He looks far too pleased with himself when I roll my eyes. This calls for drinks. What does everyone want? In an instant, all eyes turn to Leander, freeing me from the burden of attention. Hold on, let's look at this group. Dude. All their dicks are big. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. You can just tell. Oh snap, not the ads coming in when I say that. We just had breakfast, lol. Then we're gonna go get the rental car, go to Costco, and pick up Coop's parents. How exciting! You're going to Costco? You're not home yet, right? No, you're getting a rental car. Why would you get a rental car if you're home? Huh. I guess y'all gotta eat and stuff. Okay. I still can't believe they all know each other. Watching them talk amongst themselves feels surreal. But for the first time since I undertook the journey to Iridia, I feel a faint glimmer of hope. I know I was meant to meet them. No, but we gotta stock up the Airbnb for the next week for 6 people. Damn! 6 people is a lot. The low, pleasant rumble of Leander's laughter pulls me from my restless thoughts. Ha, well, color me surprised. You make friends fast, Pinky. Hello? Why did I say it like that? You make friends fast, Pinky. I wouldn't go that far. We're more like acquaintances? A wise man once said that acquaintances are merely friends you haven't shared a drink with yet. Just like that one Barbie quote. Strangers are just friends you haven't met yet. Leander's a Barbie stan, and that's why we belong together. A wise man? You said that, here, last week. I can hear Min's lip curl with distaste from across the bar. Leander clears his throat and continues, unperturbed. Let's toast to Pinky's health. Care to join in, Doctor? Curious politely declines at the wave of his hand. How about you, Min? No. Are you? No. A resounding pop pierces the din of the bar. We all turn in the direction of the noise. As someone who hates strangers, absolutely not. What do you mean? Do you hate strangers? We were once strangers, and look at us now. I sexually harass you like every day. Vera looks almost bashful as he accepts an overflowing flute from the bartender, poured from a bottle so old its label has been worn blank. They serve champagne here? Since when? Vera pauses in the middle of licking champagne foam from his fingers with a coy smile. You don't mind, do you? In a transformation as impressive as his magic trick, the concern on Leander's face vanishes. He laughs softly. No, be my guest. I know you've got expensive taste. Haha. Then he shoots the bartender a frantic look. Of course I do. Don't you remember how I refuse any online games that involve strangers? LOL. Like every time you try to convince me to try League. Dude, every time I say that, I'm totally joking. I think you would genuinely hate League so much that you would blow up and it would cause the entire world to implode. So, don't actually ever try League. However, I think there are other games, like Lethal Company with strangers. Like, that could be fun. Although you have to be really careful because some lobbies just drop the N-word for no reason. Like, I joined a lobby with a bunch of Germans and then they just kept saying the N-word and I was like, bitch, you're from Germany. Why do you even know that word? Oh god. Unbothered or uninterested in his company, Ace cants his head at me, a light smile on his lips. How about you, Sparrow? I did say I'd buy a drink from you earlier. I'd buy you a drink earlier. No, my treat. Ace regards Leander over the lip of his glass. In the dim light, the glint in his crimson eyes looks downright dangerous. What'll it be, Pinky? Why not? We're all drinking. I'll take you up on that drink, as long as it's not one of those green shots. Don't knock them till you tried them. They taste better than they look. Somehow, I doubt that, but I hold my tongue long enough for Leander to go behind the bar. Can we just talk about how Leander and Ace are looking at each other and how they have definitely fucked so hard that they have broken multiple beds? Because you could just tell. Like, the sexual tension is so thick right now. I think that they've all fucked each other. Except for maybe Min. Min feels kind of asexual to me, but I feel like they might have fucked 1 or 2 people here. Like, especially Ace. I feel like Ace has fucked everyone here. I know at least 2 canonically have. Yeah, I know Vera and Ace have also fucked. Min is supposed to be a bit Ace, if I remember right. Yeah. Oh, ads are about to start. I'm gonna let them start because soon we're gonna be choosing someone to go with, and I don't want that to happen. I don't want the ads to happen right in the middle of that. So, he's lying, isn't he? When I glance at Ace, he only shrugs. Like I said, they were chewy. Probably poison, too. That's so gross. I have a lot of texture issues. There's no way. He considers his own drink a tumbler of amber-colored whiskey. Leander's tried to kill me a dozen times by now. It's always a gamble. Very clicks his tongue in disapproval. When he finally looks my way, it's with a half-lidded gaze softened by his third glass of champagne. Were I you, I wouldn't let Leander put anything in my mouth. He fans his fingers over his chest, voice dripping with fake reverence. Oops. The Wet Wick is one of the finest drinking establishments in all of Iridia. While you're here, you may as well partake of the signature watered-down drinks and stale nut leather. He sweeps his hand towards a chipped ceramic bowl filled with spindly, speckled jerky that I can only assume is nut leather. What is with the food in the city? As abysmal as you make it sound, this place is completely packed. It's not all bad. Depending on the day, the food's edible. Ace takes a measured sip of his drink. Gotta stick around for the real attractions, though. Before I can ask what he means, Leander returns with a tumbler that he sets in front of me. Uneven chunks of ice bob in a pool of reddish-purple alcohol. I sniff the drink suspiciously. To my relief, this time all I smell is the sharp, clean scent of gin with an undercurrent of fermented fruit. I've never had gin before. Relax, it's just the local specialty, plum gin. Although if you're feeling more adventurous... I shake my head. Leander raps his knuckles against the bar until the group falls silent. Alright everyone, let's toast. May Pinky stay in Iridia be full of bright adventures and discoveries. Cheers. Leander, Ace, and Vere raise their glasses in unison. Min only crosses their arms, and Curious watches with polite indifference. I tip back my drink. The plum gin is eye-wateringly strong. Despite a sharp, medicinal edge, it goes down smooth. One sip softens the edges of my vision. The next fades the din of the crowd bar into a low, persistent murmur. I find myself unwinding for what feels like the first time in years. My husband. Aren't you the popular one, Pinky? I'm guessing you met Curious first. It would be more accurate to say that I found her. He saved my life. I merely performed my duty as a doctor. Although I must admit that I was confused when I woke up missing all my clothes. Leander makes a choked noise. Somewhere behind him, Min sighs. It's not what you think. Pinky was in grave condition. I could hardly treat such injuries through tattered clothes. The silence that follows stretches uncomfortably long. I look away, unable to face Curious's disappointment, and catch Vere snickering behind his hand. That's my cue to change the topic. Curious is the only one who saved me today. Don't you listen? I didn't save you. You were simply there. That's Min for you. Leander reaches for Min, but they duck under his arm with practiced ease, without so much looking his way. As reliable as they are moody. You're one to talk, considering you'd neglected to warn her to stay off the streets at night. Oh, I might have gotten a little distracted. We were fucking in the middle of the street. I don't know what to tell you. Min's only response is a short breath. At any rate, I never got a chance to thank you, Min. Don't. The less Solus alive, the better. For a heartbeat, Min's eyes flick toward Ace, and their lips twist. Ace is too busy nodding along to Vere's enthusiastic pantomime of stabbing to notice, lost no doubt in an enthralling discussion. I've had enough of this hellhole. Let's go. Min and Curious share a brief look. Then the doctor speaks up. Very well, but there's something that I must discuss with Leander. If you'll excuse us, Pinky. And just like that, the three of them depart, leaving me alone to savor my gin in silence. Or so I think, until I hear a voice so soft and low it's practically a purr. Lost your tour guide. I turn to find crimson and pink eyes trained on me. It's not lost on me that they chose the instant the others left to strike. Just my luck. I had to be abandoned with the two most irritating people I've met all day. Monsters or not, there's no telling what oh, hello. hold on. There's no telling what I'll do if either of them push me again. Don't tell me Leander already snuck off to get his knob slobbered out back. He's got business with Curious and Min. 2-on-1 business, Isn't he lucky? I can't tell if it's the champagne or the company, but Very has grown noticeably more relaxed. He sits with his chin propped on the back of his hand, his ears twitch whenever a hiccup shakes his shoulders. Why are you so far away? Come, join us. He pats the empty bar stool beside Ace, but I hesitate. The smile Very wears is sweet and distinctly sly, and with drinks in the mix, I dread how he and Ace will mess with me next. We don't bite. I'm not sure about that. Just hours ago, he tried to rob me, and you threatened me. Me? Steal? Surely you must be mistaken. You sure it was me? Yes, it was you, and then you had the gall to kick me out just so you could go drinking. He gives me another one of his shrugs. I was lonely. Aww. A simpler answer than I expected, but I guess I can't fault him for that. Very suddenly slumps forward, gossamer sleeves pooling where he rests his elbows on his knees. Ace sets his hand on Very's waist, narrowly preventing him from tipping off the counter. How about we start fresh, Begin with proper introductions, get off on the right foot and whatnot. I'll start. The name's Very, hunter extraordinaire. Very's right hand flutters to his chest, and he bows his head, flinching when hair falls into his eyes. Ace doesn't say anything, so I suppose it's my turn now. It's Pinky. Very considers me for a long moment, his tail idly swaying behind him. Then he knocks back the rest of his champagne. It's a pleasure to formally meet you, Pinky. He says my name slowly and deliberately, savoring every syllable. A tingle jumps down my spine. I quickly turn my gaze away. Ace smirks at my reaction over the rim of his glass. Is something funny? Nope. I open my mouth and close it just as quickly. They want me to react, goading me into another ridiculous game. While their sharp, cat-like eyes keep me on the edge, something about this tension is fun. It must be the gin. A flash of white over Ace's shoulder catches my eye. Across the bar, Curious heads for the door. I don't see Leander or Min, but it feels wrong to let him leave without saying goodbye. I'll be back. Very hums and wags his finger at me as I leave. I slip through the crowd, careful not to touch anyone, but just as I'm nearing Curious... Oh. Guh. I stagger, shoulder checked by a man with a neck thicker than both my thighs. He stares down at me, nostrils flaring. Out of my way, shit stain. My words spill out on their own. Oh my god. Kira! Thank you for the 100 bits. I'm gonna kick your ass. Thank you. I love you. You're on vacation. You're not supposed to be spending money on me. I love you. Gotta go have a good stream. Thank you, Dad. Have a good day. Enjoy Costco. You watch it. I regret them as soon as they leave my mouth. That fucking gin. The roughneck wheels around, shoving a bloodhound out of the way so he can close in on me. What did you say? He shoves me backwards, sending me stumbling to the sticky floor. I'm fine, but my heart leaps into my throat when I see the roughneck bearing down on me. You trying to start something here? The roughneck freezes, his fist cocked back. A group of bloodhounds called by the commotion circle him, sizing him up. For what feels like an agonizingly long moment, the roughneck looks from me to the bloodhounds. Finally, he sniffs and spits on the floor next to me. The lob narrowly misses my cheek. Ew. Screw it. Too many freaks in this circus tonight. He turns his back on me and comes face to face with Ace. A dangerous smile spreads across his face. You'll do. What happens next is a blur. Ace's fist crashes into the roughneck's jaw, causing an eruption of gasps, shouts, and even cheers around us. I scramble to my feet right as the frantic crowd swarms around me, cutting off my sight of everything and everyone. Through the ruckus, I hear Leander shouting, "Hey, hey, Ace, take it outside." Ignore them, everyone. Look, drinks are on me. With those 4 words, the wick erupts with hoots and hollers. The ring around me disperses as bloodhounds and onlookers rush towards the bar. Through the thinning crowd, I catch glimpses of familiar faces. Ace vanishes out back, dragging the roughneck behind him. Kira lingers near the door, searching, I suspect, for any wounded before he departs. Min draws their hood up tight as they slip out a side door, while Very leans over the counter to swipe a glass of wine from behind the bar. And Leander, seated at the opposite end of the bar, gestures dramatically and apologetically at the bartender. In the space of a heartbeat, I realize that there's no telling when or if I'll see any of them ever again. Whoever I pursue may be the last person I get to speak to tonight. I follow... Okay, chat, who do we follow? I know everybody here is gonna say Ace. I don't even know why I'm asking. And I have seen Leander's like 3 times because I love him and that's my baby daddy. So we're gonna go follow Ace. We're gonna follow Ace because he's hot. He's a sexy bitch. Morbid curiosity drives me after Ace. I slink out the back of the wet wick. The alley's dead silent, not really what I expected from a fight. Oh my god. A dull crunch reaches my ears, then a thud. I peer around the corner of the building, careful to keep hidden. Dark, glistening red splatters the ground, spidering through the seams of cobblestone. It guides my eye to a collapsed body across from me. Once so violent, the roughneck is now little more than a sack of crumpled flesh, blotted with mud. Ace exhales, his breath misting against the cold air. Blood flecks his knuckles as he looms over the motionless body, his feet on either side of it. Fear spreads like ice in my bones. Moments ago he was joking and friendly with the others, but now... Ace's crimson eyes find me in the dark. Not running, Sparrow? I'm such a slut for like a pet name. Gets me every time. I warily rise to my feet, moonlight illuminating my face. I thought I was out of sight. Got eyes in the back of my head. Ace steps off the roughneck. My eyes stay locked on the body. It's wet with layers of blood and grime, completely still. He's alive. Are you sure? Calling me a killer or a liar? A killer. Must be scared. You won't hurt me. It comes out more like a question. His eyes flick down my body, then up again. Not like him, at least. Why did that risk me? Why did that risk me up? His bloody knuckles catch his attention. He tries to rub them clean, but ends up smearing the blood around more. I keep making bad impressions on you. I didn't know you cared about my opinion. Just prefer you didn't piss yourself when we talk. Annoyance bubbles in my chest. Well, I'm not pissing myself, even with your bad impressions. Like the first time we met, Ace chips away at my fear, replacing it with irritation instead. Ace kneels beside the roughneck and frisks him. I can't help but wonder if the crime was worth the punishment, but I hold my tongue. Deftly, Ace's hands search through the roughneck's pockets. It doesn't take him long to find his prize, a cigarette and a matchbox. He strikes a match. Sparks light up his angular features with a golden glow. It's distracting for a moment, but my gaze inevitably drops back to the muddy body. You're just gonna leave him here? Ace draws deep from the cigarette. He exhales heavily, smoke curling past his lips. I breathe in the sweet spice scent of cloves. As his tension melts away, he looks at me with cool, lidded eyes. Should I give him a blanket? Unbothered by the maybe corpse, he takes a seat on a crate opposite the bar. I stand awkwardly, forgetting why I came out here in the first place. An unpleasant silence stretches between us. Weather's nice. Cold, murky, and humid, he means. I want to believe he's teasing me, but for all I know, this is pleasant for Iridia. Was Princess good company? Who? He takes another long drag. His metal rings catch the light of the cigarette in a flash of red. The soulless who escorted you back. You named it Princess? Jealous? I return his smile. You have no idea. I think your nickname's more fitting. Sparrow. Not sure where Ace got it from. Maybe I should tell him to call me by my name, but it's kind of nice. Not that I ever tell him that. Before I can dissect my feelings, I quickly change the subject back to the soulless. She was cute. She was kind of cute in a weird way. I glanced absent-mindedly at my hand, remembering how she'd nuzzled into my palm at my touch. Ace's eyes softened for a brief moment. Her tail wouldn't stop going when she got back. The group of them didn't get much attention. Think she's cute now, wait till you see her tricks. You taught her tricks? Princess is a smart one. She'll learn anything if you have the right rewards. Sounds about right. The idea of a tame soulless is still so outlandish to me. I was mauled by a mindless, bloodthirsty beast, and he's talking about them like they're pets. But it's possible, all because of the sea spring. I need to get the answers he wouldn't give me before. I carefully take a seat beside him on the crate, contemplating my strategy. He doesn't seem to mind. He closes his eyes, tilts his head back against the wall, relaxed. Without the pressure of his intense gaze, I feel myself ease up too, as long as I keep my attention away from the bloody heap across from us. I glance over at Ace and allow my eyes to linger. A sea glass-colored tattoo spirals up his arm, painting over grooves of muscle. Silver jewelry glints in the moonlight. It draws my eyes to his bare chest, rough hands, carved jaw. Anyway. I'm rizzed. I'm so rizzed. It's gonna be so hard for me to actually choose one of them, like when the full game goes out. I have no idea who I want first. Like, I love Leander, but Ace is he rizzes me. His ears, his horns, his pupils, everything about him is sharp, even the fangs that only show when he grins. But as dangerous as he appears, I can't help wanting to know more. I wonder how recently he crossed over to this world, and why. What's your verdict? I whip my head in the opposite direction. What verdict? Got a long, good look. Are you impressed? Are you impressed, or do I need work? My face grows hot. You're annoying. He responds with a low chuckle draped in smoke. Didn't stop you from staring. My embarrassment spikes. Without thinking, I blurt out a change in topic. I have questions about the sea spring. Boredom eclipses his amusement in an instant, and he closes his eyes again. Of course you do. I thought I made myself clear what you'd be giving up. Before you kicked me out to go drinking, I still need to know more. My turn for a question. It sounds more like an order than anything else. I bristle under his narrowed gaze. Fine. He takes a long pull from his cigarette and lets the smoke trail slowly from his lips. Your curse. What about it? This song and dance is all too familiar. The selfish questions come first. What does it do? Is it painful? Can you control it? I brace myself for the inevitable onslaught. Is the thought of living with it really so unbearable? My dread dies with his words. No one has asked me that before. You've survived this long. Unless you're running out of time, I'd wonder if it's really worth the sacrifice. He flicks the cigarette aside and props his head on blood-smeared knuckles. But what do I know? I'm just an outsider. My fingers fuss with the trim of my cloak. Ordinarily, I'd feel annoyed, but now my chest feels tight. You could have sold me if you were less honest. You're a shit salesman. He laughs under his breath. Harsh words. We lapse into silence again. This time, it's surprisingly nice. The quiet, chilled air is a calming reprieve. You know, you didn't seem like an outsider back at the bar. A lot of people like you. Ace raises a brow at me. I start by asking about... You know I'm gonna ask about my mans. You and Leander clearly get along well. You like Leander? Doesn't everyone? He's helped me a lot since I arrived in Iridia. He even got me a free room at the Wet Wick. His charm has gotten him far, but for a leader, he sure likes it when others take control. Hello? Part of me desperately wants to ask what he means, but Ace continues before I get the chance. Surprised we get along? I thought you'd be at each other's throat instead of drinking buddies. His smile is easy, but there's a dangerous edge to it. Leander's done a good job, for a human. Naturally, there'll come a time when his resolve is tested. Same could be said for anyone, in this plane or the next. As for my resolve, well, stick around in Iridia long enough and you'll find out. I nod slowly. I can't decide if it sounds like a promise or a threat. Got any more observations, Sparrow? I know you and Very fucked. I was surprised to see that you and Very are close. Blessing and a curse. From what I gathered, most people think he's, I don't know, an asshole? And water's wet. I wait for him to elaborate or add his thoughts, but he doesn't. So what do you like about him? He lets out a quiet laugh as if amused by my question. Lot of things. You already named one. You like that he's an asshole? Temperament matches the drapes, looks good in blood and better in tears. Favorite thing's the tail. Sometimes it frizzes up if you... He catches himself, clears his throat. It's hard not to let the disappointment show in my expression. Very is one of the most honest people you'll meet. Just don't listen to a single thing he says. Hello? Ugh, I love that. I know! This game is so perfect. Those sound like complete opposites to me. Let's ask about Curious. I didn't know that you and Curious were friends. In a way, I help him in the clinic sometimes. Doctor doesn't let most people closer than arm's length. And you do? Hearts on my sleeve. Got the sense that Curious likes... Get the sense Curious was like that in the past. Must have been burned. He trails off after the last few words, then shrugs. He opens up in his own ways if he's relaxed enough. I don't know how to even imagine that. You'd be surprised. Even the doctor has an endearing side. I can't decide what's more intriguing. The fact that Curious has an endearing side, or the idea that Ace has managed to coax it out of him. Tell me if you uncover any of his other secrets. I'd kill to know more. Min. Maybe Min doesn't necessarily like you, but they definitely pay attention to you. Ace's reaction takes me off guard. He growls, pinches the bridge of his nose, as exasperated as I've ever seen him. I make enemies as easily as I breed, Sparrow. Doesn't bother me. But that dove's got it out for me for no reason. Maybe they're unsettled by the sea spring? It's not about that. Goes without saying that they've got some issues. Don't think they understand that you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Honey has left a bad taste in my mouth in the past. It could be the same for them. At least you're capable of a conversation. Do me a favor and teach the dove some manners. Thought they'd lay off eventually if I didn't bite. Hasn't happened yet. I briefly consider the possibility that Min wants to get bitten. I'm not about to propose that, though. My main point is that, speaking from experience, being an outsider usually means you don't have friends. I don't. I level him with a tired look. Fine, I'll confess. I have one friend. Don't say yourself. Ocudeus? Ocudeus? Ocudeus. That's what I'm gonna say. My skin prickles at the name, hair standing on end. Who's that? A friend. It lives in my head. It lives in your head. Ace taps his temple with a finger. Right here. Scared you off yet? That'd be the third bad impression I've made on you today. I'm stunned for a long moment, processing what he just told me. Then I burst into a fit of laughter. You're serious? Ace grins wide enough to flash his fangs. Deadly. It sounds so fucking absurd I can't help it. On top of everything I've gone through today, it feels like I'm living a fever dream. I've come close to death more times than I can count, encountered tame solace and a horrifying group mind, and now I'm supposed to believe that there's someone living in Ace's head. There are tears in my eyes by the time I rein myself in. Ace waits patiently, lips quirked in amusement. Sorry, it just sounds so ridiculous. The tension that wound my shoulders so tightly has melted away, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like I can breathe. I feel better. Ducas, where in the rat's ass are you? Oh, Raucus? Raucous, gruff shouts rise in the streets, echoed by the sound of heavy boots sloshing through mud. The voices share the roughneck's accent from the bar. The same roughneck who is still maybe dead and lying bloodied across from us. I nearly forgot about him. I shove to my feet as their voices get louder. They're closing in quick. Ace pulls me by the wrist out of the alley, away from beaming moonlight. We dive into a nook between buildings, veiled in the shade of tattered canopies. It's a tight fit. Ace boxes me in against the wall, his body all but pressed against mine as he towers over me. For the second time today, the heady scent of smoke envelops me, but this time cut with the metallic tinge of someone else's blood. Ace pitches his voice low. Quiet. My heart leaps into my throat. I'm suddenly acutely aware of the heat radiating off Ace's body, the feeling of his leg grazing my thigh, the closeness of his breath. This is bad. I squirm against him and earn a burning crimson glare. Do we really have to... His hand covers my mouth, muffling my whispers. He shakes his head. Don't. Bark, bark, bark again. Damn, he's over here. Dukas, wake up, you bastard. A group of individuals, all brandishing spiked weapons, fill the alley. They all wear violet sashes, some kind of uniform. I wish I could see what they're doing, but Ace's arm all but blocks my sight. My eyes trail up the teal markings. They coil around his arm, his bicep. They lead up to Ace's collarbone, to the cords hanging around his neck. And to the smuggest smirk I've ever seen. I'm biting him. I move before I can think, opening my mouth enough to bare my teeth and bite down on Ace's palm, hard. He winces, surprise flashing across his features. His hand leaves my mouth, and I gasp in air. My breath is rapid from the adrenaline, and it's only when I lick my lips, when I taste the metallic tang of blood, that I realize I broke skin. Panic builds in my chest. My body tenses, bracing for his reaction. Every movement he makes is slow and deliberate. He bends down, leans close to my ear, and in a husky whisper only I can hear, "At least someone could draw blood today." You're welcome, Daddy. A hot thrill jolts through me. For a heartbeat, I forget to breathe. Voices in the alley grab Ace's attention this time. Shit, he's got more broken ribs than whole ones. What kind of freak did this? Fan out, find the cocksucker responsible. You three, take Dukas back to base. At least he's still breathing. The alley clears out as footsteps rush away from us. We stay still until they're distant, melting into the rumble of the quarter. Oh, taking a sip. Thank you, people. I love you. When we finally step back into the moonlight, the night air is ice on my skin. I feel dazed and the need to keep my eyes off Ace at all costs. Was that really necessary? The tremble to my voice is nothing but embarrassing. Could ask you the same thing. Didn't know sparrows could bite. You're lucky I didn't do worse. Try me. The thought of wiping that shitty grin off his face is definitely tempting. Staying hidden was the best option. Would be a hassle to run into them with you there. What, because I'm dead weight? Because 3 bad impressions are enough for one day? The answer is too vague for my liking, but he's probably right. Either way, I don't have the energy to argue. Come on, Sparrow, let's get you home before you're framed for murder. Very funny. We reach the front of the wet wick too quickly. I hate to admit it, but I don't want to separate from Ace yet. And not just because he never answered my questions. He's kind of a gentleman though, like he was protecting us and he punched that guy in the face for us and he walked us home. He's infuriating. As easily as he makes me feel on edge, he can make me feel safe, secure somehow. You know where to find me. At the creepiest place in the world. Take your time before you decide to drink. I happen to like your shitty attitude. It takes me a moment to process it. Then my eyes flutter down to my feet. I'll keep that in mind. When I glance back up from the ground, Ace is already down the street, disappearing into the throng of people. No fanfare, not even a wave. Asshole. Choose your fate! Click. Ugh, I love him. This is my husband. Oh, but he's so handsome. Why can I just not have a threesome? Is that too much to ask for? Can I not just have both? I have 2 hands. 2 cursed hands. Let me read these though. Vere, the chain charlatan. Very serves as a warning of the dangers posed by the cenobium. As cunning as he is curious, Very finds you fascinating and insists that he can help. But trusting him means entrusting your life to a collared beast with a lethal reputation. Can Very protect you, or are his honey words a trap waiting to snap shut? Maybe we can. We'll see. I sure fucking hope so. Like, look at these titties. You expect me to not choose these tits every time? Leander the Heroic Mage. Leander offers you something that should be impossible, a taste of normalcy free from your curse. As the first person to withstand your touch, he could change your life, but some things are simply too good to be true. Leander promises to help unveil your curse, but at what cost? Ace the Demon Renegade. An intimidating yet laid-back outsider, Ace presides over a sea spring with unnerving powers. He offers you a miracle, but the price means submitting yourself to the horrifying presence at the heart of the spring. Will you gaze into the abyss for answers, even at the risk of losing yourself? Curus the Repentant Angel. From all appearances, Curus is a principled doctor of extraordinary skill, but you know little about the man beneath the professional mask, and Curus keeps even his friends at a cool distance. If you uncover his deeper secrets, will you like what you find? Min the Cursed Outsider. Despite their cold nature and familiarity with violence, Min is just as desperate as you to get into the cenobium. You may be able to help each other, but they're keeping as many secrets as you. They claim they're dangerous, but could they be your only chance at getting into the cenobium? Ooh. I'm gonna choose Ace since we already, like, followed him out of the bar and stuff. But it doesn't really matter since it's just a demo. Thank you for playing! Ugh, I love this game. I can't wait, chat. I can't wait for it to come out. I'm gonna bust so hard I'm gonna die. I'll just turn into a husk and wither away. Anyway.